My name is Tanya. I've been the productive leader of the implementation of productive ward and our neurointensive care units in Denmark. I'll do it as best I can in English, or unless you prefer it in Danish. No. So we do it in English. I'll give you a presentation of our care units, and I will tell you about our work from the start until now with the foundation modules to the process modules. And last but not least, I will tell you about why we think it has become a success. But now first a few words about our care units. We're one of 4 care units in neurointensive care in Denmark. And we have 14 beds in the intensive care units, and we also have 6 recovery beds. We have 800 inpatients every year and 1,500 patients in our recovery beds. Most of our inpatients, of the 800 inpatients, are neck and spinal fractures, bleeding in the brains, blood clots in the brains, neurological diseases and disorders. And in the recovery beds, it's brain tumor. They are going to be removed. We are 90 nurses and 35 doctors, a number of porters and 2 secretaries. So we're quite among of staff. This has been a pilot project in Denmark. We were 4 units, 2 ordinary wards, and us as ICU, and an outpatient clinic. A Danish consultant company called Implement has bought the rights in Denmark to try and to test this project to the Danish healthcare system. Through 3 training days, the leaders, the project leaders, and the key holders among the staff were trained in the project, how to think the philosophy, how to work the methods, and the tools we had to use in the project. And we have tried to adapt something of the tools to the Danish healthcare system. It's a lot different from the English one. But before we could start, we had to find out, knowing how we're doing. Within 4 of these core objectives, we have to find one we wanted to measure from the start. And we chose weighing, unplanned absence rates, relative satisfaction, and direct care time. As for the improved patient care, safety and reliability of care, we chose focus on weighing our patient. Weighing is an important parameter in the care and treatment for the ICU patient. So we have to do it. And before we started, we only weighed 2% of our patients, and it was only when you have to change the mattress into something else. So we didn't do it, and it was quite a lot of frustration when we had to do the process, because we needed something we didn't have, and we couldn't just do it. So we sat down a small group of people, a key person and 2 members of our staff, and then looked about how we were doing it and should do the new standard for how the process could be done. And we talked to our porters. There's a important part of this procedure, because it's a very large procedure to weigh an ICU patient. And some of our patients can't even be weighed because of increased intracranial pressure also. So now we're weighing 75 to 8% of our patients twice a week. In the productive ward, the focus is not only at the patients, it's also at us as a staff. So we have to look about the staff sickness statistics. Every 3rd month you get a statistics that shows how much or how large the sickness is around the staff. but we also looked at the daily appearance. We used the safety cross, and which one person was sick, and we are 40 nurses around a shift, day shift, night shift, and what you call it, after evening shift. They turned red, but if all 40 were there, it took green. And it was quite a lot of expression, from 16 to 51%. Most of our patient is in coma, so we can't ask them how they think we are doing, and they can't remember being in our ward when they wake up. So we ask our relatives how they experience the ward, the admission to the ward, the dialogue, the information we give them, and so on. And they are quite satisfied about how we're doing it. And we measured this every 3rd month, and now from this year on we measured it every month. We also did the activity follows, like Caroline, and we measured 6 shifts at 8 hours and 15 minutes, and we followed a nurse and registered everything she did for the 8 hours and 15 minutes. And we found out that we had 33% direct care time when we started the project. And we used 36% of the time management, the documentation of our care and treatment of the patient. We have not measured again because we have used a lot of amount of time with this second foundation module called Well-Organized Ward, but we have to do it here in the spring this year. So we have to see if it has changed. The Well-Organized Ward has been the foundation models we used quite amount of time. 1 year we have used that, and we're not done yet. We asked the staff members what they thought was what's wrong in our ward, what we could do better in the physical environment, and we found 327 types of waste in our ward, and they found around 75% of solutions for the proposal they found. And that's quite a lot of things we have to do different. So we're working on it, and in small groups, every group has one area of our ward to work with. But it will be an ongoing process, and in the summer of 2013, we are facing a big expansion with 5 new intensive care unit beds. So we're going to be 19. This is some of the pictures before or after. We have 5 different units, and the problem were that we're not working in one specific unit, so we have to work in all 5, and we couldn't find the things. When we're working in Unit 1, we couldn't find the things in Unit 2 when we the next day worked there. So now we've placed all the things in the same places, so everyone can find us when things go quite fast sometime. The cleanup did a great time for the persons around the mental and the physical environment. Just now you can find what you are looking for. This is our recovery unit, where a toilet were used as a medicine unit and stocking room, and now the toilet and the sink is removed, and I think the recovery it's been a lot better now. Mm-hmm. We have also looked at the patient status at a glance. We have, like many other wards, a whiteboard showing the patients in our ward. And we had an interdisciplinary meeting with all the doctors and the porters, talked about which information does everybody needs on this board to find the patient, not asking another person to find the information and so. So we will all agree that we need an electronic patient panel, but in Denmark it isn't something you just do. You have to be around the ET department at the hospital to get and accept that you can do it. So we've looked at the different kind of firms that produce these kind of electronic patient panels. And we have applied for funds to proceed this buying, because as you can see it's cost £85,000 to get this system in Denmark. But we got rejected our first application, but we have other firms we can send it to. So hopefully in this year we get a new electronic device. In the autumn we have worked with spring handovers, with shift handovers. We've been in small groups of 4 persons where we've asked all the staff what they thought was the problem about the shift handovers. What was the pros? What was the cons? And they made a new standard. Before we worked 8 hours and 15 minutes per shift, and they reduced it to 8 hours and 10 minutes. We no longer give verbal, oral handovers. We now just meet in. If I'll come, I'll sit and read about the patient, what has been done the last 24 hours, and my colleagues take care of the patient while I do this. If I have any questions, I just ask my colleagues before she left. Otherwise, we don't speak, because she has to write everything in the system, so it will be, it would just be stupid for her to tell all the things that just have to read afterwards. That has reduced the daily work time for each members of our staff and released 1,066 hours a year by the 5 minutes per staff members per shift. That is around £25,000 a year, just for the 5 minutes. On Monday, we're starting up with the ward round. We have set a meeting with all the interdisciplinary members, doctors, nurses, porters, physiologists, all who's around our department. And then they are going to look at how the ward round is now and what to do different, because one ward round for one of patients, including a nurse, 3 doctors, and perhaps a physiologist. So we have to look at it because it does interrupt the nurses quite a lot. So they're gonna map the current process, and then they're gonna do a new standard for how the ward round can be in the future. And there will be a test period for a month, I think, and afterwards we'll implement the new standard. And why have this become a success? We think it's because it's a bottom-up approach. All the other processes and projects we have been in has been where a consulting company comes from outside and tell, if you do this otherwise in another way, you can reduce such a lot amount of time. But this is the patient, the staff members has to do it by yourself. And we think that the bottom-up process has been the overriding cause of this success. Furthermore, each small groups have to point out which things has to be done differently, and they have to come with the solution and develop the new standard. the management of our department and in the hospital has supporting us and give us the chance to do different things. And if we can if we could show them in the cost benefit yes. If we could show that it was a large gain by doing this, they were up to it. And we get funds in some point, but not the £85,000. Furthermore, the Productive Ward is a project with focused on the patient and the patient care, the patient's safety and treatment, but also on the staff. And this is what have become a success. The staff feels like they are being listening to, and they got the changes and do the changes, and they can change the surroundings in a busy environment. And this can the employments can relate to this, and therefore it will be a permanent change. This is Maggie Morgan Cook. She visited us in autumn 2012 to see how it has been done in Denmark. So, yeah.
Any questions for Tanya?
Can I just ask, when the staff just read the handover,
Yeah.
how do you provide opportunities for discussion about case management, looking after patients, agreeing a pathway, discussing where people might have different viewpoints as to how best to look after somebody?
Yeah, but we do that, but not in the verbal or oral handovers. We just tell about the patient, how the blood pressure is, and if the temperature, if there is a fever, and so on. And the other thing we discuss in another room at another time. So we do it, but not in the oral handovers. We just talked about this patient, and she has to write it before I come anyway, so she doesn't have to say it all to me again, and then I write it, and I want to go to and read it afterwards. So we found out we did it both, and it was not logical.
Any more questions?
I just wondered, 367 instances of waste. I'm just really curious, were there one or two examples?
It could be that the light wasn't good enough, so you couldn't see which medicine you was going to give the patient, or there was not gloves by the bed, so you have to go 10 miles that way to get some gloves.
Practical things.
Yeah.
Now got a way to know about.
Yeah, and it could be there's not enough computers. You have to wait to your colleagues was done organizing and documentation, all the things. So, yeah, you're welcome.
Thank you very much.